Hi, in this video we're going to have a look at another module for Foundry VTT. This time it's Pf2e HUD. You can find the info about this module on GitHub at the address on the screen. I'll link it in the notes below. First of all, I'm going to go through the features of this mod because it includes quite a lot of things besides just the HUD. And we're not going to cover all of them, but some of the other features are interesting and I'll just list out what they are. Also in this video, I'm going to be comparing the features of this with Token Action HUD I did a video on. I'll link to that video as well. First of all, let's have a look at the features. I'm going to go into the settings. You will find in the game settings under Pf2e HUD. If your game has a lot of modules installed, you can search for the name of the module. This has got a combat tracker built into it. There's also a dice panel. There is a time tracker. There's also token tooltip, and what this does is it puts some information around the token. So it's like a health estimate. And then we get to the first section, which is part of the HUD. So the persistent HUD refers to this big block down here around the macro toolbar. And here's another token HUD element, which actually puts HUD around the token. Okay, so first of all, we're going to cover the persistent HUD. We can have the position on the left-hand side, and then we can change that to middle. Then you've got selection mode. The options here are manual selection, what you would need to come in here. There'll be a button on here to select the token. The option I recommend is on token selection. So when you change the token you're selecting, it also updates the HUD. From the left to the right, first of all, we've got the big portrait, and to the left of this, we've got some controls. So there's a toggle effect, editing the avatar, always show the UI on the portrait. The UI just means this little bar at the bottom, and lock the hotbar so you can't make accidental changes. Mute the volume of the game, and this was to clear the hotbar. Moving on to the information on the HUD. Firstly, we've got the name of the character and the level. Here we've got temporary hit points, which you can edit, and hit points, which you can also edit. We can say take 5 hit points off. This is the armor class, and then we've got shield information. There's a control here for launching take cover, so you can select the level of cover that you've got and just apply that to yourself. I gave Mauricio over here a shield, so if we go to her, we can see that we have a buckler on here which has 3 hardness and it has 6 hit points. We can change that. We can take that down to 3, which now means that this is broken and we can't raise a shield. If we take it up, we can use this button to raise a shield. The next column here is another information panel. The first one here is the languages. Then we've got senses, immunities, resistances, and weaknesses. Next to that, we've got character level, speed. To the right of that, you can set your alliance. We then move on to quick rolling section. We can do fortitude, reflex, and will saves. If you click on these, it will bring up your default roll action. Like any roll, you can hold shift and click it and it will just roll it. Next to it, we've got what the developers think of as like the most common rolls. Perception rolls and stealth rolls you're going to do a lot. The third one, not every character is going to find athletics a role they're going to be doing all of the time. But this is not configurable, unfortunately. Here we've got you can increase your hero points, your dying level, and your wounded level. On a left click, it will increase them. Right click, it will decrease them. And now we come to the menu bar. Here's where you'll find everything that isn't on the quick buttons. So the first one is actions, and it will bring up every single action you have configured in your character sheet. All of your attacks, all the map, your normal damage and your critical damage, draw your weapons, stow them, change your hands. Under here you've got actions, and if any actions have got macros assigned with them, you can run them directly from here. Nice little toggle for putting it into chat. This is, I think, where there's a really big difference between this and Token Action HUD. You could click on some of these things, but it would just put them into the chat, and you didn't have quite so much access to controls. If we move on to inventory, there's even more control here. For each item, you can control whether you're carrying it, edit them, you can delete them, you can change the number that you've got of them, you can put them into chat. You also get a nice overview of your money, your encumbrance level, and they've also got all the items in your containers, so you can move things between containers and not again. You really don't have to open your character sheet at all using this. It's very, very strong. The next one is for spells, so we're going to go to a spellcaster to see this one. You can put a spell into the chat. You get to see your DC for it. You can cast it. For your ranked spells, Ezrin just has spell slots, gets to see which spells he has available to him. If he casts Anthol, you can see that is no longer available, but you can add it back again, so you can restore this spell slot. For Mauricial, she's got 2 first rank spells and she has 4 spontaneous spell slots. She can use one of her 4 for Agitate. She can use another one to cast Befuddle. And you've got a nice overview here of exactly how many first level slots she's got left as a spontaneous caster. If there are any toggles for spells, so for example spell shape, you can also toggle those on here. Skills, this is a big menu, organized by group. We can just roll acrobatics. From here, we can do specific actions in here, like tumble through. It's in alphabetical order. We have perception at the top, and then it goes alphabetically. Acrobatics, arcana, athletics, all the way down to thievery, and then the lore skills are at the end. I would still recommend probably using the basic actions macro rather than this. Everything that might not be elsewhere is going to be on here. In extras, we can roll initiative. We can also select what initiative we're going to roll. If we want to roll stealth for initiative. Also got the rest for the night. And then there's a few additional actions. At the bottom here, you can drop additional macros. So if you use treat wounds all the time, we can look for the treat wounds macro. And we can drag that down to there. You can just run that macro from here. So that's all the menus are just these 5 here. This section here, which is the shortcuts, you can pretty much drag anything from any of these menus down onto the shortcuts. So for example, we can drag her bastard sword attack down here and her javelin. We can also drag the rage, maybe quick tempered. We can drag a consumable down onto there. So for attacks, you can come down here, you get access to all the map, so we can make an attack. We can launch any of these macros. We're going to do rage and apply that effect. Take a potion. For spellcasters, you can also just drag spells down here. There we go, that just puts that straight in the chat. We can drag a ranked spell down onto here as well, and if we cast it from here, you can see it controls it up on here as well. We can also drag toggles, so we turn that on, the toggle comes up on here as well. And the final thing I think to say is we can just drag these around and reorganize them however we want, and if we want to get rid of any, we just pick it up and drag it onto this bin icon. If you've added any macros into the extras bar, you can also drag these on. Note that you can't drag macros directly onto this shortcut bar like you can with the macro bar, but you can drag them into the extras bar and then from here onto there. It's an extra step, but you can get macros onto here by doing this. Add them into the extras menu and then drag them from the extras menu down to here. But you might as well just use the macro bar for that. Finally, if you've somehow managed to fill up all the shortcuts in here, then you can use this button here to change between 3 different sets of shortcuts. If you click the left button, it will go up, and right, it will go down. That's all there is for the persistent toolbar. So we'll move on now to the token toolbar. I'm going to turn the persistent HUD off, and we've got the token HUD on. You can enable the token HUD here, and we see that the persistent toolbar has gone. And if I now select this token, we're getting the HUD all around the token. So at the top, we've got the stuff that was underneath the profile, hit points, temporary hit points, AC, shield, then to the left, hero points, dying, wounded levels, speed. On the right hand, we've got saving throws and common rolls. Underneath, we have languages, senses, immunities, resistances, weaknesses, and on the row below that, we have the menus. Exactly the same as on the persistent HUD. So if I go back to the settings, the different display modes for the token HUD, grouped left, You see they're all on the left-hand side. Grouped right is exactly the same when you put it on the right-hand side. And that is everything for Pf2e HUD. If you've got any questions or you think I've missed anything you want me to answer, please leave a comment below and I'll do my best to answer any questions. Hope you enjoyed it.